Hello and welcome. This is just going to be a quick tutorial on how to install a mod loader, add mods, and then create your very first code mod to Kitten Space Agency. Just a note, this is still the pre-alpha build, so things may change. And the creating code mod will turn into a series later on. So the first thing you need is you do need Kitten Space Agency actually installed on your computer. So go ahead and go ahead and do that. I would follow the RocketWorks' actual instructions. It's probably going to be better. But once you have that installed, we're going to need StarMap, which is a KSA Mod Loader. And we're going to install that through the GitHub page, which will be linked in the description. Once you're on the GitHub page, go over to releases, and in this version we will be doing release 0.3.5, which is the latest release. If you have a newer release, download that. And once you click on the release, the latest 0.3.5 for us, we will be doing the zip file, as you need that to actually create mods. The exe file should only be if you only want to run mods, download the exe, but in this case we're going to create them, so we're doing the zip. We'll download the zip, open it up here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to extract all, and I'm going to choose a file to extract to. It doesn't really matter which file you extract it to, so I'm just putting it on my desktop under my KSA modding folder, and then in here there's a StarMap folder which is empty for now, so I'm just going to put it in there. Extract all, and now you have StarMap downloaded. So we're going to actually test to see if it runs. So what you have to do is starmap.exe, it's an application, double click on it to run it, allow it to run. It'll pop up, close. That is intended because it could not find KSA, but what it will create is this starmap config.json file, and this is where you're going to tell starmap where KSA is installed. So double click on it to open it, and you see two things: game location, repository location. What we want is the game location, so that will be the install path to Kitten Space Agency itself. So for me, that is an OS under Program Files, Kitten Space Agency, just the folder. Up here, take the direct path, copy it, put it in the game location, paste it, and then save the file, close out of it, go back to your StarMap, and double click starmap.exe again. This will pop up. You'll see this window, loaded StarMap, found the mod core, KSA will start, and then you could load into KSA. As it stands right now, this is just the base KSA. There's no mods installed. StarMap hasn't loaded anything extra. It's literally just normal KSA. You can check that by using the backslash, which is under the backspace, and then typing mods. And as you can see, all you have right now is the core mod, which is core KSA. So to close that, we could just Alt F4, or you can close out of this or exit the game normally. But now we are going to install a mod, or sorry, all right, for the next part of KSA modding for actually installing the mod, we're going to choose our mod real quick. So what I'm going to be using is I'm going to be using SpaceDock, which is the temporary place to actually find mods to look at, because you have all the Kitten Space Agency mods. It also holds the the Kerbal Space Program mods as well. If you go to SpaceDock, you have all these mods here. We're just going to do Kitten Space Agency, pretty obviously. And the one we're going to do is this mod right here called ModMenu. The reason is that it is a dependency in quite a few mods. Like if you go into the aircraft HUD, it requires ModMenu. So we're just going to download ModMenu just so that's done, and it's a quick, easy mod to install. Nothing complicated. So what you're going to do is go in ModMenu. Once again, this will be linked in the description. And you go over here, download. What you're seeing is my version because I created this mod. You'll see the zip file. Go up here, You can extract all, choose your file location, which in this case, you're going to have to go to your kittenspaceagency install location. So mine is OS, program files, and then kittenspaceagency. Then you're going to go into content. And this right here in content is where you're going to put all the mods you have. So I'm just going to select the content folder, extract there. And now you see mod menu. If you go in here, you'll see the mod menu DLL, which is the actual mod, so all the code for it. Mod.toml, which is the mod information. So if you open it, it has the name of the mod, and then the version and author are optional. I put them in there because why not? But you also have the license, which you can look at if you want. So next thing we have to do is make KSA find the mod itself, because if we go to StarMap and we actually run StarMap, it will only say found mod core. It won't actually find any other mods. So when you load in, it'll just be same old KSA. So what we're going to have to do is actually help it find the mod. So what you have to do is you go into your documents, if you're on Windows 11, documents, my games, Kitten Space Agency, and there's a file called manifest.toml. Go in here, and you see this format, mods, followed by ID core enabled. What you're going to do is you're going to add in another tag of mods. One second, let me trust this. Of mods ID equals, what is the ID? Well, if you go back to mod menu and open the mod.toml, you have the name right here. The name is the ID. And then, of course, you want to have it enabled because you actually do run the mod. So what you do, save that, close out of it, close out of mod.toml. And then if you now go back to StarMap and run StarMap, if I run Earth only, you should see here loaded mod menu, as well as where it found it. And now KSA runs, and mod menu will add this little tab right here, which does nothing on its own, but for each mod that you add, it will give its own submenu as long as it uses mod menu. So that is just a little neat way to organize mods. And that is the basics of how to install a mod. If you want to add any additional mods, just go ahead and check out SpaceDoc. All the mods will be here. Most of them have links, if not all, have links to their source code if you want to look at that. Otherwise, go to the KSA forums, because they have a mods tab under mod releases. All of these have links to their source code. They have to, that's part of the mod release rules. But yeah, that's about it for installing mods. The next part will be creating your first mod. Alright, so this is the third part of modding, and this will be how to create your own code mod using in KSA using StarMap. So what you're going to do is you're going to want to first have an IDE to create your mod in, and my choice will be Visual Studio, Microsoft Visual Studio. So what you're going to do is open it up, create a new project, select class library, and then C#. Then under here, there's a class library. Click next. Choose your project name. This one I will be doing example. I'm just going to name it example mod. I am not going to do spaces. You can do spaces if you want to. I'm going to do next, and we are going to do .NET 10.0, as that is what kittenspaceagency uses. And then we're going to create it. We're going to wait a bit for it to create. Let it load everything in. And it has loaded, so we now have the project. You have the Solution Explorer over here, the actual code here, and properties of files here. But for what we're going to do is we're first going to want to be able to actually have the mod interact with StarMap so that StarMap can find it as a mod. So what you're going to do is go up top to Project, down to Manage NuGet Packages. It'll load up in here. Go to Browse. Next part, make sure the package source is under nuget.org. And where you're going to search up is StarMap. If I can spell it correctly, sorry. And then there's StarMap.api by Class White. I believe I'm saying that correctly. You're going to go in here and install the latest version. In this case, the API is up to 0.3.4. So install that one. Apply it. And now if you go out of here and over in your Solution Explorer, I should probably zoom in on everything. Sorry, I just realized that my screen is probably too tiny. But there is a file that has this example mod. Double click on that. It'll pull up your project. And now you should see an item group with a package reference to StarMap API in the version. If you see that, you're good. And then you can go back to the code. But before we're done, you do need to actually now have the code be able to access Kitten Space Agency. So what we're going to do is go Project, add project reference, go down to Browse, and then once you're in Browse, go down to the second Browse in the very bottom, the actual button. Click on Browse, go to your Kitten Space Agency install location, and scroll down till you find KSA.dll. You want the DLL file, not the exe, because the DLL is the actual code. Click on that, add it. You'll see it pop up here and hit OK. If you go into your project file, you now see a reference to KSA and the path there. Just go ahead, save that. And then when you're in class or in the actual class.cs, what you're going to do is outside the namespace, make sure you do using starmap.api and using KSA. So then when you're in, now you have the inside the namespace under public class, class 1, we're going to, right before class 1, we're going to put in square brackets StarMap mod, and that is all you need. So now StarMap, when you put this mod in the Kitten Space Agency, StarMap will find the StarMap mod and start and do everything that's said in this class. But what functions are set in here, because we don't actually have a function right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a public void, and I'm going to do before GUI. You can call it whatever you want. In this case, I'm just doing before GUI because that's when I want it to be called. Or that's just because it's just the name, so I understand when it's being called. But to actually know, for StarMap to know when to call it, you could use square brackets again, but you do StarMap, and then there's a bunch of options like after GUI, before main, so before KSA even actually starts. In this case, since we're doing before GUI, I'm going to run before GUI. So now StarMap will find this class 1, and then it will find this function before GUI, and it will run it every time before the actual KSA GUI is ran. And what we're going to do in here, we're just going to do a very simple console.write line. And what are we going to write to the console write line? Well, we're going to use KSA dot universe dot controlled, or where's vehicle? This is the wrong one, sorry. Not KSA.universe. It's KSA.program, not procedural. Program dot controlled vehicle dot ID. So what this will do is in KSA, it will get the program, which is the main class, and then the controlled vehicle, so whichever vehicle the user is using, and then the ID, which is the name of that vehicle. So if you're controlling one of the kittens, it'll be the kitten's name. If you're controlling a rocket, it'll be the rocket's name. And now you see this warning here, default reference of a possibly null reference. Essentially, the control vehicle, you may not always be controlling a vehicle. For instance, let's say you're in map view, you may not be actually controlling a vehicle, so this is why it's null. To acknowledge that it does exist, but you don't care, just put a question mark after the end and the error goes away. So now we're going to actually have to build the mod, so just save it, go up here, build solution, should see down here build started, a warning that I don't really understand, and then finally the build succeeded, as well as where the path output of it. So in this case, can I make this bigger? Can I not make it bigger? I cannot make it bigger, sorry. But it's under users, your username for your computer, source, repos, whatever the project name you had. And then once again, under the project name, bin, debug, net.10, and then the DLL. So in my case, it will be in under repos. So users, my user, source, repos, example mod, bin, debug, net.10. And what you're seeing here is you're seeing every single file that's actually included in KSA, which you don't really want that. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to delete it all. It will take a bit. Yep, delete the file. And I'm going to go back into the example mod project folder. And I am going to do, so what I'm going to add is under the item group include KSA, I'm going to add in a little tab called private. And I'm going to set it to false. So what this is saying is that when you build the projects, this reference KSA is not private, meaning that it does not have to be included in the build because it will be able to find it anytime it needs it. So we just build the solution, open up the project folder, and all of a sudden you no longer have all of KSA's files in here. Now you only have your example mod, which is this example mod.dll, as well as two other files which are used for debugging and figuring stuff out. But we notice one other thing. We need a mod.toml, but we don't have it. So let's go add that real quick because KSA won't find the mod without mod.toml. Sorry, new file, control N. Well, for now I'm just going to do a text file. I'm going to rename it. So I'm just going to do name equals and then the name of this mod, which is example mod. And that is all we need for now. And we are going to name it as mod.toml. Save type as all files under example mod. Save. So now we have mod.toml. What you're going to want to do is right click on it or click on it, come down to properties, copy to output directory, make sure that is to copy always. And then save your example mod. Go ahead and rebuild the solution. And now you have the mod.toml as well as the example mod DLL. So now we just need to actually add this mod to kittenspaceagency to see it do its thing. So we just go kittenspaceagency. That is the wrong one, sorry. content, create a new folder, name it example mod. And here I'm going to take the mod.toml and the mod.dll, example mod.dll, drag it in there. That is all I need. And then in the manifest.toml and documents my games, I'm going to add another tag for mods id equals example mod, because that is what I called it, and then enabled equals true. Save that, and then I can go to StarMap and launch StarMap. And as you can see right here, it finds the mod, tells you where it found it, and then when I load in, you will see nothing at first because it's writing to the console, not to the game. But in here, I didn't do it correctly. Oh, debug session. So you don't see it actually working here because of the way StarMap works. The before GUI actually needs a double DT to be taken in first. I do not know why this works, but it is required. So before GUI and after the GUI requires double.dt. Other tags need different things. I recommend checking out the actual StarMap wiki or KSA modding wiki for that. But we're just going to go ahead and rebuild the solution. And just so you know, every time you build the solution, you do have to take over the DLL and copy it over to the file in KSA content. Replace the file. And since the manifest.toml already has the mod in there, we don't need to change that. Go to StarMap, launch it. Should still find the mod. Load up Earth only. Still don't see anything, but when we go to the console, would you look at that? It's telling us, and my game's glitching, sorry. It'll tell us exactly which one we're doing. If I switch to Chase over here, you can see that when I scroll down, we're now following Hunter. And then Banjo, and so on. And then once again, if you do the /mods, you can now see you have core, mod menu, and example mod. So that is the super basic how to actually create your own code mod, how to install mod, and how to use StarMap to start loading mods. More videos will be coming later on more detailed information on how to make mods. The best bet, however, will be the modding wiki as well as KSA modding Discord, where you could just ask people for help.